Welcome to Change It Up Radio. I'm your host, Paula, and happy to be here with you today. We will not be having a guest on today's show. I'm going to be going solo because there are just some things that are making my heart ache right now that I need to talk to you about. Remember, those of you who've been with us before, that my work is as a life transition coach. I've written 2 books on grief. One is called Grief, When Will This Pain Ever End? And the other is Saying the Right Thing When You Don't Know What to Say, which is all about saying something helpful to people in emotional pain and avoiding the pitfalls of lecturing them, telling them what to do, how to do it, or what they should be doing. And I encourage every one of you to go to paulashaw.com and grab my free gift, which is my little ebook called 20 Things to Say and Not to Say to People in Emotional Pain. That will really help you to create a supportive, compassionate conversation with someone who's hurting. And it will help you to avoid saying those things that we've all heard that we tend to pass on because somebody said them to us, but they're not helpful. They might even elicit anger or hurt in the person that you're actually trying to help. So please go to paulashaw.com and get that free gift. And also you can book a complimentary 20-minute consult with me through that same website. And also for those of you who want to hear past shows of Change It Up Radio or learn more about this show, what our mission is, and information about being a sponsor or a guest on this show, you can do that at changeitupradio.com. That's changeitupradio.com. I am also a speaker, and if your organization would be interested in having some kind of a presentation about change, about loss, about grief, and humans dealing with that, then please reach out to me through paulashaw.com. So, what I really want to talk about today comes not from a political perspective, but really from my perspective as a grief specialist. We all know that there is a horrifying story going on in the world right now, that an insane dictator, Putin of Russia, has taken it upon himself to move into another country and try to take it over through military force. And I say it's horrifying because it really is, and it's so hard to believe that at this point in history, one nation would even dare have the audacity to just say, hey, you used to be ours, we want you back, and just move in and destroy cities and a way of life. And I could not speak about this because it is producing grief on a huge level worldwide. Because the only people that are grieving are not just the Ukrainians. The rest of us that are watching this happen are also grieving many, many levels. So what I want to say first is I want to remind you what grief is. Grief is the normal, natural response to loss, to the loss of a person, a place, a thing, a possession, a circumstance that is special and precious to you. If you look at that definition, the people of Ukraine are suffering loss on every level. on every level. And because we're not there where the bombing is, because we're not having our cities torn down around us, doesn't mean we're exempt. Because we all are relating to how we would feel if it was us. Imagine those of you in Texas, Arizona, California, what would it be like if Mexico said, well, you used to be ours. We're coming back for you. We want you back. And just started blowing things up here in California, in Texas, and Arizona. We would be horrified. And we would think it's unconscionable. And so as we're watching Putin and the Russian army do this in Ukraine, we're having that same horrified experience. And it's part of being a human that when we see some other human suffering, we relate to how that would feel if it was us, if it was someone we loved. And for many of us, there are people there that we love, people that are family. And so the experience comes home in an even more personal way. And so it isn't just that Ukraine is a nation of grievers. We are once again a world of grievers. I did a show back when the pandemic first began, and I called that one A World of Grievers, because again, in that situation, we were dealing with a worldwide grief experience. Everyone was losing a person, a place, a thing, a circumstance, a way of life. We were all suffering loss when the shutdown began. And once again now, we are all suffering loss with the current situation that we're having to deal with. Another thing that comes up for humans, and it's as basic as when we were all cavemen, fear of the unknown. You know, it's like the terror that comes in the night if there's no light, if there was no campfire. You know, back to the very beginning, most primitive men, there was a fear. If there wasn't fire and there wasn't light, there was a fear of what might come and hurt you or put your world in upheaval in the dark of the night. And when one country does something as outrageous as what has happened, as what Russia has done, it shakes us all to our core because we don't know what's going to happen next. Just yesterday, my daughter said to me, should we hold off on booking our tickets to Italy until we see what happens with Russia and Ukraine? That trip isn't until July. But we're already in a state of fear of the unknown because this unthinkable thing has actually transpired. It has actually happened. And so all of us are suffering. All of us are outraged over this injustice and the horror that something like this is possible in 2022. And what is going to happen? What can the other nations do to end this atrocity? And more important, I want to talk to you about what you can do, because healing is always an inside job. And we're all at a point of choice right now. We can either keep focusing out there at the things that make us scared and outraged. We can keep talking about that and building our anger and building this negative force field. Or we can try something different. And I'd like to suggest we try something different. And that is building a positive force field. How do we do that? Well, let's start with this. Should we focus on wanting defeat, Should we be angry at Putin? Should we focus on wanting to see a terrible defeat come to him, come to the Russians? I don't think so. And while we're all justified in feeling those feelings, to build that kind of energy does not serve any of us. First of all, it's really hard on the body physiologically to be angry and stressed and focused on negativity. So it's not going to help any of us be healthier or stronger. Second of all, what we focus on, we feed energy to. You hear me saying that all the time. And what we feed energy to is going to grow. So we don't want to grow more evil, more outrage, more atrocities. We want to grow peace. We want to grow a solution. We want to grow a magnificent victory for these brave, amazing Ukrainian people, who, by the way, are being led by a man that I truly believe was born to be there in this place in time, because he is incredible. He's incredible. He stays with his people. He doesn't run. He encourages his people. He has created an energy and a thought field over there that is, we have to win. There is no other alternative. And that, my friends, is huge. That will do more to bring victory to the Ukrainian people than spending time and focus on hate and anger toward Putin and the Russians. So let's all follow the example of Zelensky, knowing there is nothing that can happen except victory for these people, because right makes might. I believe that with all my heart. And the light has always, always overcome the darkness. So what can you do right here, right now in your own world? Well, for one thing, suck it up when you go to buy gas and the price has gone way up. If you really ever do the math on what it costs when you're paying an extra 25 cents or 50 cents for gas, even $1 a gallon. You know, most tanks hold 12 to 15 gallons. So give up a bottle of wine or a few coffees and know that you're doing your part to help save lives in an innocent country. We know this gas thing is going to happen. So let's just know it and deal with it with grace and gratitude that we can do something to help these innocent people. What else can we do? Just know that right now the Ukrainian people are in such a place of making sacrifices. And yet so many of the interviews I'm seeing with them, they are so solid. They are so united. Pooh, there's an example for us. How about being united? How about throwing out all this bipartisan crap and seeing what's possible when a country stands together? How about that? You know, out of every horrible experience comes a gift or many gifts. And that may be one of them. To remember once again what we can do when we're united as Americans. Donate your time and your money to groups who are doing work to help these people, to help all people, any group. There are so many groups who need help. And if you have time or you have money, put it out there, please. Do your part. It's also a way of expressing gratitude that you have it. And that's so important because gratitude is a very high vibration. And when we're at a high vibration, we're creating a stronger field, a positive field. And that's what we want to be creating. Support the administration's decisions. Whether you like Biden or not, he is doing everything that he can to try to help these innocent people in Ukraine. Support him. Support him. Let's unite and see what we can do when we're united. Dose yourself. You know, I turn on the news every night so that I can get a sense of what's going on and see where I need to focus prayers, energy, sending light, whatever I need to do. But after a certain amount of time, I know that I can't take it anymore. And usually it's by that point I'm in tears. Because other humans, of which I am one, I am part of the human family. And there are members of our family that are really hurting. And when I know that I can't watch anymore without going into a downward spiral, I turn that off. And I try to watch something uplifting so I can gather my strength again. So I can be this beacon of light, sending light out to these people. Because that's the most positive thing we can do. Pray, meditate, send light, see victory, see the joy of these people when this thing ends and they are victorious. That is so much more powerful than wishing something negative on Putin and the Russians. And let us also remember, the Russian army contains other humans, and there are mothers at home crying over the losses of their sons. And some of those people don't even know the truth about what's going on. So let's try to just come from love and compassion for everybody involved in this nightmare, including ourselves. If we can do that, if we can remember the right makes might, that the light will always overcome the darkness. The light will always win. If we can stay focused on that and put our light out there too, if every one of us projects our light into creating this field of positivity that can create miracles, that can bring to the Ukrainians what they need, that can have miraculous things happen. We all know stories from World War II where some miraculous thing happened, like Dunkirk, where all those people brought their own privately owned boats and saved others. We all know that those kinds of miracles are possible when we remember that we're all members of the human family and we stand together. So I encourage you and I ask you today to make that your commitment. Commit to the light. Commit to sending every positive vibration you can muster to the Ukrainian people and to everyone in the world so that we can all heal together, so that we can overcome this like we've overcome so many other difficult things in the history of mankind. We can do this, and we will do it best if we stand united in the light. Thank you. Thank you to all my listeners. Thank you for your time, and I thank you in advance for the light that I know you're going to be shining out there in every possible way you can. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.